Hi guys, for those of you who weren't here today, I started doing some challenge problems and I told the students in class that I'm going to try to make videos about each one of them I do and then post those every day so I don't have to keep redoing the same questions, 4 days in a row. So if you look at the screen, this is the very first question that was asked today. It says if k root 3 plus the square root of 12 minus the square root of 75 equals root 3, find the value of k. So I'm gonna ask you to just think for a second. Do you have any idea how to do this problem? Um, I posted a picture of the question, so hopefully you've at least read it before you get here now. But just think about it. What's relevant here? What am I dealing with? Well, clearly you're dealing with simplifying square roots. And you should have seen how to simplify square roots, but if you've forgotten, again, didn't actually learn it, let's talk about it. So let's say I want to simplify the square root of 700. Well, how do I do that? The key here is the factor tree. So you take 700 and you factor tree it. And if you do that, if you take 700 and you factor tree it down into its prime factors, first you start with 10 and 70, and then the 10 breaks down and the 70 breaks down, you will end up with two twos, two fives, and a 7. When you remultiply that out, 10, 10, that's 100 times 7 is 700. Once you do that, you can break the square root apart. So the square root can break into the square root of 2 times 2 times the square root of 5 times 5 times the square root of 7. Okay, so that's what you get when you factor tree it down and then you break it apart. Well, of course, the square root of 2 times 2 is 2, and the square root of 5 times 5 is 5. So the next thing you get is 2 times 5, and still times the square root of 7. Now, the square root of 7 is an irrational number. I can't write it down. I can't estimate it. Well, I can't estimate it, but I'm not going to write it down. We're not estimating here. We're giving an exact answer. So now I can just multiply those leading numbers, and I get 10 times the square root of 7. How we simplify square roots. So if we go back to our original problem, it appears this square root has already been simplified. What we need to do is simplify the square root of 12 and the square root of 75. So we have k times the square root of 3. Now, if you break down 12, 12 is 2 times 2 times 3. And if you break down 75, that is 3 times 5 times 5. And of course, the square root of 3, it can't be broken down. 3 is a prime number, so it's not going to go anywhere. And then what we're going to do again is we still have k, and we still have the square root of 3. And then we have, now, you can break the 2 off. So this becomes 2 times the square root of 3 because I had 2 2's, and I can take the square root of 2 2's and just get 2. Likewise, I have 2 5's. So I can take the square root of 5, the 2 5's, and just get 5. Now, you can think about this a lot of different ways, but one way to think about it is, what if I divided everything by the square root of 3? So if I took the square root of 3 and divided each individual term by the, so it's basically dividing the entire equation. Okay. I divide this fraction what I wanted to do. K root 3 over the square root of 3 2 root 3 over the square root of 3. 5 root 3 over the square root of 3. So again, I'm just dividing everything, both sides of the equation, by the square root of 3. So basically, every individual term gets divided by the square root of 3. And when I do that, what's left is these root 3's all cancel out. So I'm left with k plus 2 minus 5 equals 1. Well, that's k minus 3 equals 1. Add 3 to both sides. K is 4. And I've solved this problem and I found out what k is. Now, if you don't remember how to do square roots, simplified square roots, that's something you're supposed to know. You got to get that worked on. So I'm going to post these videos in Google Classroom. I think I'm going to make a YouTube page. I haven't made it yet, where I'm going to start collecting some of these and little other things so that you can go and double check them and relook at them again. But hopefully that helped explain how to do this problem. If not, be sure and send me an email, ask a question.